Good morning and happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of WST Winners. Week 13 in the National Football League. Andrew Paterson, soon to be joined by my guy, Jake Bolin Moss from Coolbet. Of course, our shows and WST always presented by Coolbet Canada. Head on over to coolbet.com if you haven't checked it out before for the best and most competitive lines in the market and some great boosted promos and combos that we will be cooking up today on the show. If you haven't played a Coolbet before, use the promo code WST when you're making your first deposit. Hook you up with a 100% bonus up to $200 on that deposit. Let's get to it. Jake Bolin Moss. Jake, what's going on? How are you doing? Probably better than me after what happened to my Chiefs yesterday.
I mean, listen, Huss, like football-wise doing well, but I am all over the map. Lost Wi-Fi connection yesterday. I mentioned that to you guys. So I was hot-spotting my TV to get the games. I've now switched over to my dad's place. Wi-Fi's looking good here. I hope I'm sounding good. And yeah, I mean, excited for more football today, Huss. I know this isn't a college show, but we got like 6 games at noon in the college slate. Ton of college basketball if you're into that kind of thing. Some NHL starting at noon, and then obviously the NFL game at 3 into the weekend of week 13. So yeah, pretty fired up. U.S. Thanksgiving is one of my favorite holidays, even though it's not a holiday here, because there's just a ton of sports on all day long, Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend.
Now, did I hear that properly beforehand, that you're dealing with a big dump of snow?
Yeah, so basically last night when I went to bed, there was no snow on the ground here. And then when I got up this morning, it was up to, my thighs, basically. So all overnight, we'd basically dig out the cars today. And then, like I said, I had to drive over to get on the Wi-Fi. It's been a bit of a nightmare. Not my favorite U.S. Thanksgiving in recent memory, but making it work, making it work. It's Friday at least, and we're almost at the weekend here.
I love it. Well, we're going to get into our picks. Patty is on duty with the NLL today over at TSN, so I'm not sure whether we're going to get picks from him. We producer Connor, we might need to enlist Connor as a third leg on a couple of these things. We'll get his thoughts on the Niners a little bit later on. But quick recap of yesterday. I mean, just an absolute disaster for me. Both I was on the Lions. They lost. I was on the Chiefs. They lost. Now, the funny thing was, the prop-wise, it was one of the best days of the year. I mean, with the exception of Xavier, if Xavier Worthy gets a touchdown, this day is a complete win. Everyone got one for the Chiefs except for Worthy. We even had the Hollywood Brown that I got in late at over 4-1. The Mahomes passing props were great. Hit it at over 2.5 touchdowns. And then, as I said, I think he might get 4. We'll go over 3.5. He hit that as well. But they lost to the Cowboys. And listen, Jake, I mean, just thoughts on those first 2 games. But I will give credit where credit is due. The Dallas offense, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, especially George Pickens, just absolutely phenomenal. And if you told me that Mahomes was going to do what I thought he was going to do and throw for 4 touchdowns, the thought of them losing that game seemed impossible. But that's just how good the Dallas offense was yesterday. And listen, credit to Green Bay too. I mean, big plays from Jordan Love. And, Detroit just didn't execute on some key 4th downs. And that seemed to be the difference.
Yeah, 2 huge swing games, Huss. We talked about it on I guess it was Wednesday's show before the Thursday games. Like, these games were massive for both sides. Both, the Packers, to keep pace in that division. Obviously, the Bears had kind of taken over there, and then the Lions, to keep pace in the wild card race. Well, they've dropped, a game, and then we go into the in the later afternoon, and your Chiefs against the Cowboys. And I gotta say, man, the Cowboys defense, I know they haven't been great most of this season, but got stops when it mattered. I mean, there were some pretty big drops on the Kansas City side. Sitting there watching that game, like unbelievable Rashee Rice drop, and just a couple that you just inexcusable, really, in a game that the Chiefs really, really needed. So, yeah, I mean, tough all around, Huss. Someone's got to lose at the end of the day. But what are the odds? If you would have told me at the start of yesterday that all three underdogs were not only going to cover, but win outright, I wouldn't have believed it. And I mean, I'm sure if you were on the underdogs yesterday, you were pretty happy because a 3-leg underdog money line parlay would have paid some juicy numbers, especially the night game. I think they were 7-point favorites. The Ravens ended up losing outright and pretty handily losing outright as well.
Yeah, the Bengals. I mean, I knew the Bengals would come out, with some juice with Joe Burrow coming back into the game, playing the Ravens. But it was the incompetence of Baltimore that, kind of stood up.
5 turnovers doesn't help anyone, right?
Dude, I mean, the 2 from Lamar were horrible. I mean, early on. And Jake, has a team ever won a game when a guy has fumbled right before the goal line and the ball's gone through? I mean, the minute likely had that play where it looked like they were scoring and it goes through. It almost as if it's like a guaranteed loss.
100%. Huss, happened earlier this year. A.D. Mitchell, I'll never forget it because I was on the Rams in that game. A.D. Mitchell runs down the sideline, about to score, drops the ball before the end zone, touchback, Rams ball. I don't love the rule. I don't think you should just lose possession of the football as it gets fumbled out of the end zone, because if it gets fumbled down at the 1-yard line, you get it at the 1-yard line. At the same time, the rule is the rule. The players know it. You got to hold on to the football through the plane, and Isaiah Likely didn't get it done. So yeah, Ravens lose. They're, all of a sudden that division tightens up. I know that I don't know if the Bengals are still in it, but I mean, who's to say at this point? They got Joe Burrow back. They're 4-8. The Ravens are kind of taking on water. The Steelers, what are they at this point in the season? That division is ugly. And I think, if anyone's going to do it, Burrow did it last year, found a way to get it done and take this team on a big run. They find a way to win out, get to 9-8. Who's to say they don't have a chance to win the division? They get the Ravens again, Huss, later in the season, a couple weeks.
Well, that all of a sudden, Cincy being alive is kind of hilarious. But I mean, that's what that division. And listen, as someone that is seeing a team that's been to the AFC Championship game every single year that Patrick Mahomes has been a quarterback, that seems like maybe a pipe dream right now. I mean, you just dream of being in a division where the leader's at 6-5 or 6-6, right, and you can just find the way. I mean, Kansas City pretty much needs to win out. I mean, my dream, my goal is that they get these 4 wins. And when I'm at Allegiant Stadium for Week 18, for a game that I was originally worried that they'd be resting all their guys because they're ready for the playoffs, that game means something, and we see all the big guys making things happen. But yeah, a brutal loss for Baltimore. I mean, if you look, like Detroit will look at a couple plays against a team that was really good. Kansas City will look back at, the inability to get the defense off the field. But the Baltimore loss, with basically a full complement of their players going up against the Bengals without T. Higgins, Joe Burrow coming out back off a month, that was terrible for Baltimore's perspective and a big win. I got to give a shout out to the Jets Pope, who he said hit a nice 14-1 parlay yesterday over the first 2 games, and then Bengals money line. And that Bengals money line was a nice banger yesterday for people that got on it. I mean, I had the +7, and the Jamar Chase props were money, with the exception of getting in the end zone, which was kind of funny. You had some other guys do it.
Well, look at that comment right on the screen. I haven't seen that yet. Here we go. I love that. Sorry to cut you off, Huss, but yeah, I was like, what is that? I had to look to see what that was. That's awesome.
So Jake, quickly before we get to it, I know we didn't really talk about it too much yesterday, and we'll make our picks and everything for tomorrow for Sunday slate. But what are we thinking about this Bears-Eagles game this afternoon? Number right now is 7 for Philly. The Bears are a first place team. No one really seems to be buying it. I'll tell you what, the Eagles have not looked like the Eagles the last little while. This is a pretty interesting game to me.
Yeah, listen, it might be a prop game for me, Huss. I'll give you a lean. I don't know. It's not one of my official picks, I'll tell you that much. It's a tough one. 7's a lot of points, and right, you saw what the underdogs did yesterday. Not only did they cover, like we mentioned, but they were all winning outright. That doesn't necessarily mean the Bears are going to go into Philly and win this game outright. But at the same time, you have to put a little respect on them. Like whether you like the Bears or not, or you believe in the Bears and Caleb Williams or not, they've been finding ways to win football games, and that matters in this league. Winning games matters. So, it's a tough spot. The line, just looking at it, I know there's a lot of public money, public tickets on the Bears side, but the money is on the Eagles side, which usually makes me think Eagles. I just don't know if I can trust the Eagles enough to win by a touchdown or more at this point in the season. So that's why it feels like a prop game to me. I think if I was going to lean, I would lean with the Eagles just based on the line and the way the money's going. But I don't think I'm going to actually pull the trigger on that one. And like I said, I'll probably hit a couple touchdown props, a same game parlay, and just try to have fun that way.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just put a little something on the Bears +7. I mean, the one thing with the Bears that we've seen all year long, I mean, they certainly don't win by margin, but I mean, they're hanging around and they're in all these games, and more often than not, they're giving themselves a chance to win. And I will say this: I was thinking a lot about Ben Johnson yesterday, looking at Dan Campbell run that offense. Not quite the same creativity or explosiveness in Detroit without Ben, and how he's taken this roster in Chicago and put them in first place at the NFC North is, we were talking off air how I think Kyle Shanahan might be the coach of the year. What Ben Johnson's doing is a little bit of magic in Chi-Town as well. That being said, Philly has not impressed anyone right now, and I don't know if I'd feel comfortable laying a touchdown for the Eagles against just about anybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I have to stay away, Huss, because like my heart says jump on the Eagles just the way, like I said, the way the money's going. But I just don't know if I can commit to a 7-point spread with a team that I don't really trust. Listen, the ex-Super Bowl, they're the Super Bowl champs, like can't take that away from them. But I just don't know if I'm buying the way they're playing right now. You got to mention too, I know you mentioned Detroit yesterday. Losing Amon-Ra St. Brown in the first quarter doesn't help either. Your go-to guy, your guy that you can feed the ball to all game long, goes out with that injury. You hope he's going to be okay going forward. But it lined up nicely for our Jameson Williams, and obviously we weren't able to cash that parlay with Worthy not getting in the end zone. But Amon-Ra going down early, that really stalled that Lions defense. And, they tried to keep pace. They just couldn't get it done. Green Bay just kept scoring the football. So a lot of points yesterday, Huss. And I think you mentioned we didn't even get the over in the late game. It felt like it was going to be an overfest the way everything was going, but the Bengals couldn't find a way to get in the end zone until the late third quarter or the fourth quarter in that game.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that one sort of fell apart because of the turnovers, and usually the turnovers will help you. I mean, the Bengals had the ball, they got a fumble on the 2-yard line and didn't score. And then likely fumbles going into the end zone. I mean, those two plays right there probably should have been the 3 overs, but we got a lot of points, just not enough at the end. All right, let's put some picks together. Let's first of all start off against the spread. We'll make our favorite 4. A little tougher getting 4 today because of all the games that are already off the board. But where are you starting the card with today, Jake?
Yeah, starting with a divisional dog. You know me. I'm a big fan of divisional dogs, and they're always on my card. I was really impressed with this team last week, getting a little extended rest. Some news came out about the opposing team. I'm taking the Houston Texans +3.5 at -110. Daniel Jones, apparently he's been dealing with a fractured fibula. Obviously, they've been playing pretty well, but then I went and looked at his running numbers. He had a big rushing game 2 weeks ago, but in his last 4 games, really hasn't been rushing the football. So, I think that's part of the game that, when Danny Dimes isn't using his legs, the offense, you rely a lot heavier on Jonathan Taylor and a lot heavier on Daniel Jones' arms. So I think what the Texans did against Josh Allen and the Bills last week was very impressive. That defensive line is real strong, and that's what's going to lead this team, as far as they want to go, is going to be the defense. I think Stroud might be coming back this week for the Texans. I don't know if I love that over Mills the way he's been playing, but I like it. That's not necessarily what excites me about the Texans. It's really the defense and getting the hook with the 3 in a divisional spot. I think this game is going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be a divisional battle. I think it could go field goal either way. So if that's the case, I'm going to take the underdog in that spot. And sticking in the same division, Huss, with my second pick and taking the home underdog in this spot, I'm grabbing the Tennessee Titans at +6. They've covered now 3 in a row. And you know, it hasn't been the prettiest plays from Tennessee. I'm just not bought in on the Jaguars. I know they're 7-4. I know they're sitting in a playoff spot right now, but you give me a divisional dog of, you know, nearly a touchdown at home, I'm going to jump on it. They've covered against pretty solid teams. They covered against the Seahawks last week. I know the number was pretty big. The Texans and the Chargers in the last 3 weeks. And, you know, the Jags did everything in their power last week to try to give away that game to the Cardinals, and the Cardinals just wouldn't let it happen. So I'm not too sold on the Jags. I know they had a big win a couple weeks ago against the Chargers. I'm just not buying it right now. And I think the Titans, you know, I don't think they're trying to win games, but because they're 1-10. But I think they're trying to be competitive and trying to see what they get out of Cam Ward. So I'm going to take the Titans at +6 as a home divisional dog, and that'll be my first 2 picks of the Week 13 slate.
I don't know if you saw me throwing my arms up as you made those picks.
I did.
This is exactly where I have started. I'm in on Houston and I'm in on Tennessee.
I mean, didn't even talk offline.
It's so funny that we talk about this, and where do we go right off the bat? The AFC South, 2 big divisional matchups in a division that has historically sucked. I said earlier this week, the second the lines came out, I will be taking the Tennessee Titans at home +6.
Absolutely.
And this is sort of a fate of the Jags. And you look at the Jags, they were incredibly fortunate to beat Arizona last week. That one ended up as a push. We were on the other side. And listen, I think they showed something last week in that second half of the Seattle game. I mean, Seattle was up early, and then now listen, maybe there's score effects involved. The bottom line is this is a 1-10 team. I mean, they were able to move the ball, put some points up at the same time, and you know, and be respectable in that game. I think if they play at that level, this is going to be a tight game. And the Jags are very capable, very capable. As much as they're capable of winning some games that people didn't expect, they are absolutely capable of playing down to the level of their opposition. They're in a really good spot right now. I think Jacksonville probably finds a way to win this game, but this is going to be a game, I think, that's there in the fourth quarter that is very much up for, you know, like we'll see who will win this game. Tennessee probably finds a way to lose and maintain their stranglehold on that number 1 pick. Yeah. But 6 points is a lot of points for the Jags to be laying against anybody, especially on the road in the division. I love Tennessee in this case, and I'm with you on Houston. I mean, the defensive performance of the Houston Texans last week, and really over the last number of weeks, they've moved into the number 1 spot in the league when it comes to overall defense. Now, Indianapolis is a really good team. Jonathan Taylor will probably get his, maybe a big bounce back game. That's maybe, if you're looking at, you know, props for this game, despite the fact that the Texans are so good, I do think we'll see a bounce back game from Jonathan Taylor, who was really kept in check by Kansas City the week before. But this is a bet on the Houston Texans defense. And I'm with you. I'm not really that fired up that CJ Stroud's coming back. I think Davis Mills has been more than adequate. And I think he's a big reason why they're all of a sudden right back in the mix in the playoff chase right now. Also, a game that Houston absolutely has to have. So we'll take the points and the hook plus 3.5. If you want to get 4, actually, it's minus 119. So, and again, we'll put it in. We'll need a half for the parlay. But if you do like 4, you can jump on that at less than 120. So we're on the same wavelength for these first 2 picks. So where are you going with the next couple, Jake?
Well, listen, why don't I give a couple Patty's picks here? He did text us. I don't know if he's watching, but he did text us basically right as I broke down, and then you jumped on the Texans. He jumped off the Colts. He had him originally on his card here. He's pivoting, so he's going to take the Rams at a big number. I think they're minus 10 right now against the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah,
I mean, Carolina Panthers, ugly game on Monday Night Football. Primetime games have not been fun to watch. I mean, yesterday was pretty fun. I think we can agree. But besides that, I know it wasn't fun for you, but besides that, it's been pretty ugly in these primetime spots. So he's going to take the Rams against the Panthers -10 on the road. And then I guess he'll go with his top pick. He's going to go Niners as well, -4.5. And I think that can lead into my next pick here. I do have the Niners on my card as well. Although we were sitting here right before the show and Connor dropped that, it might be ugly weather in Cleveland and, Brock Purdy turns into a pumpkin when it's bad weather. And I know Cleveland plays solid football when the weather gets ugly. I would, knowing that, I'd probably jump on Cleveland, but I'm going to stick with the pick. I'm going to stick with the Niners here. I already mentioned, I think it might be a sucker's bet. I just don't quite believe in Shedeur Sanders. I know he had a good game last week. He was playing the Las Vegas Raiders, arguably the worst team in football. I mean, them and Titans could go back and forth, but it's not pretty right now in Las Vegas. They found a way to win. All respect to Shedeur. I just don't know if I'm quite buying it. So we'll see, we'll see what Purdy's got. It might be a heavy dose of McCaffrey, which we saw last week, both in the check down game and the running game. I imagine if the weather is going to be bad, I'd say keep an eye on the under in this game. A lot of rushing, tends to be a lot of clock running fast, could be a quick one. I'm going to take the Niners. Patty's going to take the Niners at 4.5. But I'm going to say, since out of the 4 picks on my card, it's probably my least favorite one. My final pick of the card, speaking of Patty, I'm going to take his Bills. And I, if you don't mind, I'm going to buy the half point to -3 at -120. And simply, I'm done with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They blew up a money line parlay for me last week, so I do have a little bit of anger with them. And the thing with the Steelers is usually when you're done with them, that's the time to get in on them. I just can't do it. I can't sell myself on the Pittsburgh Steelers, whether it's Aaron Rodgers starting, who hasn't looked great, whether it's Mason Rudolph, who, was fine last week, but got some help. I don't know if you saw that fake tush push they ran that went for like 70 yards, Huss, but I'm really not buying the Mike Tomlin narratives anymore. It just doesn't feel like the same Steelers in years past. The defense has struggled this season. I think they're the worst pass defense in the league right now. And the Bills, frankly, they got to keep pace in the AFC. They had a tough loss last week. Like we already mentioned, to the Houston Texans. They get a bit of extra rest having played on Thursday night. They're going to be ready to go for this game. And listen, they have a great opportunity to stay ahead in this wildcard race with, the Ravens losing yesterday. Who knows what that happens in that division? The Chiefs losing yesterday. And frankly, they got to keep pace with a team like the Chargers, a team like the Jags. So I'm going to ride with the Buffalo Bills. I think they find a way. I think they're just a better football team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're going to give me a field goal there, I'll take it. So I got Bills -3, Niners -4.5 with Patty, who's on the Rams and the Niners. I'll get to his 2 picks after your next 2 here, Huss.
All right. Well, completing my selections, I was kind of going back and forth. I was thinking about Pittsburgh, and then I'm like, you know what? Let's just cross that one off. I'm not like this could easily be a really tight game and 3 points, 1 point. I mean, who knows? I'm out. I'm looking forward to that game. It's a big, big game. I'll be hoping the Steelers win that game, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'm going to stay away. I'm going to go to a game that probably should not be on anybody's television. Although I say that after just betting on the Tennessee Jacksonville game and starting it off with Houston Indy. I'm going to take Miami -5.5 against the Saints. Dolphins coming off the bye week and coming off a couple really big time performances from Devon Achane. And the crazy thing about this right now is that, as we talked about the plight of the Chiefs and, where the Bills are right now and the Baltimore Ravens, the Dolphins could be a game back of Baltimore and Kansas City with a win after this week. And I'm not suggesting that they're going to find their way truly into the playoff picture, but I think they can put a little lipstick on the pig that is their season with a big win this week and at least be on that in the hunt graphic when they're putting it up on Sunday night football. The Saints are not good. And we've actually finally seen now in the aftermath of Tyreek Hill, this Dolphins defense kind of pick it up. They're at home. It's a 5.5 point spread. I think they win by margin. I like them over a touchdown. I'll take Miami at -5.5. And you know what? I'm actually going on the other side of you guys in this Cleveland-San Francisco game. And listen, the weather, if it's weather like that, and I know Connor's not very confident in Brock Purdy in colder weather when there's issues. I'm just not that confident in Brock Purdy based on the terrible picks that we saw last week.
Mm-hmm.
And going across the country, playing an early game outside in Cleveland, this is just one of these games that San Francisco is going to have to try to survive. Brock Purdy's going to have to survive because there's a guy named Myles Garrett that's going to probably be in his face most of the afternoon. And as incompetent as the Cleveland offense has been, and I guess we're going to see more of Shedeur Sanders, and please do not take this as a big endorsement of Shedeur. This is more a bet on the Cleveland defense to keep this close. This game just reeks 19-16, like in a bunch of field goals, field position game. Niners, I think, will find a way to win. As I say, Kyle Shanahan gets the job done, but I don't think this is going to be like a big offensive game for San Francisco. So considering on the road, they're getting the 4.5. I'm actually going to be with Cleveland plus 4.5, along with Miami minus 5.5. What's Patty's last couple picks?
Yeah, so second big favorite for Patty. He's going to go with the Seahawks minus 11.5 against the Vikings. Vikings, man, I don't even know what to think about that team right now. I know McCarthy was in concussion protocol. Do you know who the next guy up is for the Vikings if McCarthy can't go?
I do. Let me Max Brosmer, undrafted rookie quarterback. Max Brosmer.
Yeah, I think Seahawks could have their way.
League. I just had to get it because I'm desperate. I have JJ McCarthy in a 2 QB league, and I'm like, who the hell am I going to play? The one guy available on the waiver wire, Max Brosmer. That will tell you where I'm at with my fantasy season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that. So he's got the Seahawks minus 11.5. I actually don't mind that. I might jump on that myself. And then he's also taking the Raiders plus 8.5. We haven't really talked about that game, Huss. They're playing the Chargers. That's it. So that's divisional dog. They're actually at the 9.5. So I think we'll give Patty the extra point.
Yeah, not 9. Dude, right now at Coolbet, it's 9.5 at minus 104.
Yeah, he could get 10. 10 is minus
114. We'll give him that. We'll take care of Patty.
Yeah, so if Patty's watching, you're getting the 10 Patty with the Raiders. I listen, I'm a sucker for a divisional dog, double-digit divisional dog. I hate the Raiders. I think the Raiders stink, but if that's the way you're looking at it and it's a divisional dog, I can totally respect that, Patty. So getting double digits with the Raiders at plus 10. And it's funny, I was looking at Patty's props. One of the ones on his card I actually have on mine as well. So I don't know if you're ready for the props or do you want to discuss parlay first for the spreads?
We can just get right into it and kind of just circle back, but just Pat. So Pat's plus 10 for the Raiders.
Yep. He's got the Rams minus 10.
Seattle. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Seattle and
Seattle minus. He said 11.5. I think it was 12. Let's see what the 11.5. Yeah, 11.5 is minus 111. So no problem there.
All right, so we've got him locked in. All right, yeah, let's get into the props. What where are you at?
Well, I'll start with the first one. Patty and I are sharing this prop. We actually didn't even discuss this pre show or anything like that, but we're gonna jump on RJ Harvey over 49.5 rush yards. Actually 48.5 now, what I'm seeing at Coolbet. So we'll take the extra yard there. So RJ Harvey over 48.5 rush yards. Listen, this Washington defense has been putrid all season long. They're giving up huge games to lead backs. J.K. Dobbins is out. It's RJ Harvey's backfield now for the Denver Broncos. They're coming off the bye. They're going to be fresh. I went and looked back at some of the Washington games and lead backs. It's a 100-yard game every single time. Devon Achane, 120 yards. Javonte Williams, 114 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 142 yards. Listen, RJ Harvey may not be these guys, but 50 yards is not a lot of yards to get. So I'm going to jump on RJ Harvey against a bad Washington defense. if the Broncos are leading in this game, I expect a heavy dose of Harvey. The more carries he gets, the better I'm going to feel about the props. So I think it's a good spot there. And, I was talking with you pre-show and really struggling to find a second prop, but, I dove into some weather after we spoke about the San Fran game. And it's actually not the San Fran game that I'm jumping to, but I'm actually going to jump to the Atlanta-New York Jets game. It's going to be outdoors. Definite rain I saw in the forecast. Another game that I'm kind of highlighting as a possible under. Heavy dose of Bijan and a heavy dose of what I'm going to expect Breece Hall to be. Listen, the Jets haven't been pretty, but, they stuck in it with the Ravens last week. They're battling hard, even without their top two defensive guys that they traded away at the deadline in Gardner and Williams. I'm going to take Breece Hall over 71.5 rush yards. I think they try to keep the ball on the ground, keep the clock moving. And honestly, the Falcons' rush defense hasn't been their strongest suit this season. So, I don't have a lot of more notes on that one, Huss, but 2 rushing props for me. And I guess I'll do Patty's second prop as well while we're talking. He's got 2 rushing props as well. He's going Daniel Jones over rush yards. I did talk a little bit about the injury that Jones has been dealing with and how he hasn't been using his legs as much in recent weeks. But, Patty has to find a way to get a quarterback rush prop in. The line right now, 8.5. It is pretty low. I think they're taking that injury into account because this is a guy that can absolutely use his legs. A divisional game, a game that, the Colts want to bounce back after the loss to the Chiefs. Jones, he's a gamer. Find a way. Probably get to double digits. So 8.5 is that number. I don't mind that at all.
You know what? Why I was originally going, geez, Danny Dimes rush yards in this case with the leg. I don't know about that. Listen, I think he at times is just going to be running for his life against that Houston defense. And to be honest, just trying to evade Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter probably means he's going to have to run a few times just to, make 2 or 3 yards out of what could have been a sack. So I actually do like that one. I'm going to Mr. Automatic for my first prop, and that is the number 1 receiver in the league, JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I think I'm going to settle on over 6.5 receptions.
Okay.
The receiving yard total for him is over 96.5. When I look back, just to show you what a crazy, crazy year that he's having. These are his last 5 games. 123, 129, 93, 105, 167. And his receptions are 8, 8, 5, 9, 8. Routinely targeted into double digits as well. The 97 yards is just one of those numbers. He's been so high. I'm not sure whether they're going to need to throw as much later on in the game. So that's why I think I'm going to stay away from it. But they'll establish him early. He'll see the balls. So we'll go over 6.5 receptions for JSN. Then I'm going to go back to that Miami game. And I'm just going to pull this up here. These splits over the last couple games for Devon Chain are absolutely insane. He has been nuclear, and maybe the bye week came at the worst possible time for a Chain because he was just hotter than anybody in the league. But the last 2 games for a Chain, 22 carries for 174 yards. And then the last game against Washington, 21 for 120. It's very clear that they're going to feed Devon Chain. And he's also capable. He was adding 40, 50 rushing yards in there as well. Let me just get back to this game. Where the heck is it? I should not be having such a hard time finding it. Here we are. All right. So the rushing number for a Chain, if we just want to focus on the rushing, we could go 79.5. Mm-hmm. That's probably where I end up, but I'll ask you thoughts on the rushing and receiving combined at 118.5. I think I'm going to stick with the rushing prop basically to get 80 yards.
I like that number at 80.
So there we go. Over 79.5 chain rushing yards. And that is going to be he's going to be a guy that, they just kind of lean on. And if they win the game, as I expect them to do so, he's probably having a pretty good time and maybe getting into the end zone as well. So we've got RJ Harvey on 2 cards, Breece Hall, a lot of rushing. And then this makes sense as we kind of get into December. These are the time where we're going to be leaning on these numbers a little bit more. House callers. Did Patty give a house caller?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know who you had. He had a couple. Did you have Davante Adams by chance?
I did
Mr.
not
Touchdown.
Davante Adams.
The guy's a monster.
Mr. Automatic.
An absolute monster. So that's going to be Patty's. Davante Adams. I totally love that. It seems like every single game they get inside the 10-yard line, that ball is going to Davante Adams. I don't know what it is. Davante Adams said he's having the most fun he's ever had playing football, which I don't know if that's a shot at Aaron Rodgers or if it's just a really fun time in LA with how good that team is. But Patty's going to take Adams. Let me just check the number on that one. Let's see. Adams -143, the favorite. Bigger favorite than Kyron Williams now. So remember when Kyron Williams was an absolute touchdown machine and he was locked in for every game? He's -119 right now. Davante Adams -143. I got a little bit of plus money, just slight plus money, and I can't believe we're as invested in this game. I didn't expect this, but I'm going to the Miami game. You know, you're all over A-Chain. You're all over the Dolphins. I'm going to take Waddle +110. Saints are giving up a ton of passing touchdowns this season. Waddle, is the number one guy there with Hill out. I think Waddle gets into the end zone this week. I think a lot of Miami Dolphins could find the end zone this week. Huss, I was looking at that schedule. I know we didn't talk much about the Miami game after you spoke about the spread, but they go Saints, Jets, Steelers. So, they find a way to win 3 there. They're 7-7. Then they got to go Bengals, Bucks, Pats. So it does get a little tougher for them late in the season. But if you're rolling, you're rolling. And that Pats game might mean nothing. Who knows? We could see maybe the Dolphins find their way into this mix. It's probably going to have to look like a win-out scenario. But 10-7, who's to say?
You know what? Do I just go right back to JSN again for a touchdown prop? He's plus money.
Really?
He's plus money. I was sort of surprised when I pulled up the numbers for the Seattle game that it's Zach Charbonnet who's actually the lowest number at +103.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's because Kenneth Walker, I think, is dealing with an injury right now. So it could be a heavy Charbonnet game if we get to that point.
Yeah, and obviously they're looking at rushing possibilities and going through. And I just think that this is going to be a big game for Sam Darnold. Wanting to make a point of reminding everybody in Minnesota while they throw UDFA Max Bronman or whatever the hell his name is, that you could have kept Sam Darnold, who was 14. Sam Brosmer, yes, I'm sure he'll be a household name by the end of the week. So JSN, always a possibility. I do have him on the one pick. I don't know whether that's putting too much into that one pot. I wanted to see what the Bucky Irving number was with him coming back, but the numbers aren't up right now just because I think so much of it depends on a couple guys of whether they will play or whether they won't. A couple other guys that I thought of Woody Marks. The number's not good enough. Woody Marks is +137. He still doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. He's had 1 touchdown in the last 5 games. And then you've got a guy like JSN that seemingly gets in every single week. At plus money, I don't think I'm going to overthink this. I'm going with Smith and Jigba.
Yeah, three receivers there, and we'll have a bunch of rush props in our prop parlay. We've got a good mix, Huss. A good mix. Obviously we might add JSN to the props parlay. We'll have to discuss, but Adams, Waddle, and JSN as our touchdowns this week. We were damn close yesterday. I was really excited after Williams scored. I thought we had a chance to get Worthy in, but ended up being, of course, Rice scored twice, and Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown was the other scorer. So yeah, I mean, it just didn't bounce our way. What can you do? Tyquan Thornton, they had a big shot to him downfield, didn't find a way to get him in, but yeah, just couldn't find Worthy in the spot we needed. He drew up a couple plays for Worthy where I thought he was going to go all the way, but
for sure, they wanted to get him in. I mean, we had Thomas Tipple on from Fantasy Points, and he's always good for a couple good props. And we were talking about touchdowns because I said, hey, I'm on Mahomes overs today for touchdowns. He says, well, Rice is for sure getting in. And then I had suggested Worthy, who's a guy that they really do spend a lot of time. He's the guy that they go to in man coverage, and Dallas is going to probably play more man because they normally play zone, and Mahomes absolutely eats zone alive. But anyways, Xavier didn't get in, which was disappointing. The late ad on my card right before game time was Hollywood Brown getting one. He was over 4-1 yesterday. So to think of if we'd gone Brown instead of Worthy,
I know,
for that one,
because you knew Henry was getting in. It was the first touchdown of the game.
And
that was the easiest one. So.
No doubt about it. All right, so let's work backwards. We've got the touchdown scorers. What do we want to do for the for our props?
I think Harvey makes a lot of sense with Patty and I both on it.
Yep, our Harvey on both. I think I'm gonna go with the chain. Do we want to just do the three big Russian guys, Harvey, Breece Hall, and a chain?
Yeah, if you like the Hall number, obviously it was a late ad on my card, so I didn't dive into it as much as I usually would. But I like the number in a kind of a weather game. I think the recipe for success, not that the Jets are really trying to win football games here, though, it's going to be rushing the football in weather like that. So, I mean, if you like it, then I could get on board with three rushing numbers.
We're basically, it's either Breece Hall or Danny Dimes. And
because we don't want to heavy JSN the card.
I guess if we want to do both of my picks, I was basically thinking a chain. Harvey is one of your guys' picks, and we were taking the other one.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the only concern with Dimes is that injury. Like, if you look over the last few weeks, I was looking at it because I was like, oh, maybe I want to go under his yards, but the number is so low. But you look at the last couple of weeks, he hasn't really been running like he did early in the season, and it makes sense, obviously, given this injury news that's come out, the fractured fibula. But 3 rushes for 16 yards last week, which is good. 7 for 53. But then before that, 3 for 4, 1 for 3, 5 for 7. So, in half of his games, in half of his last 6, he's gone over the 8.5. So I don't know if we want to roll that out or if you want to roll Hall. Where do you kind of lean?
Well, I would prefer you. Yeah, like the funny thing is that it's not like this is getting worse for him. He has been playing with it.
Right.
And, ended up with the 3 versus 16. Actually, you know what? Listen, he's had 53 and 16 in his last 2 games. And as they say, he's going to be forced into running a little bit just by the Houston Texans defense. So yeah, if we want to go with the dime over 8.5, the number is really low.
It's not a big number. At the end of the day,
it's basically one or 2 rushes, which I think will happen. Okay, so Dimes, Danny Jones over 8.5, a chain over 79.5, RJ Harvey over 48.5. That will be our prop parlay, and that will go up in the exclusives. Now we have to figure out our parlay. Patty.
Well, listen, Titans. I think make a lot of sense.
Titans are in.
I'll start the card there.
Titans are in. I guess we go. Let's see what happens if we take this to 6.5. What's the number? The Texans. Where are we here? I've got all these games expanded for props.
Yeah, once you expand them, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. I've got it.
Yeah, plus 115 or minus 115. Yeah. So Tennessee.
We should have stole the hook. Should have stole the hook for the picks.
Well, you know what? I'll give it to us right now. I'm just adding a +5 beside both of those. So Tennessee 6.5. We both like Houston. I mean, I'm kind of in on Houston. Do we want to take the Houston and then one of Patty's picks?
Yeah, listen, Patty took the Colts off the card. I was going to say Houston might be out because he had the Colts, but he took them off the card. So I think Texans makes sense. What was your favorite of Patty's picks? I'll put mine out there and then see what you think. I did like the Seahawks at 11.5. I know it's a big number, but if it's going to be Matt Brosmer, it's not just the Seahawks offense that's been a wagon. That defense has been really, really solid with McDonald.
I mean,
there.
the Sammy Darts revenge game against a team which basically is a disaster of a quarterback.
Patty's not even here, and I'm getting sold on the Seahawks.
So there we are, 11.5.
I like that.
So Tennessee 6.5, Houston 3.5. Let me just quickly see the Houston number.
What the 4.5 would be?
Yeah, it's probably. I mean, again, for a parlay,
30. I got
Houston.
plus 545 with Hawks minus 11.5, Texans 4.5. Oh, sorry, that's Titans 6. Let me get the Titans to 6.5 here.
Houston at 4. Tennessee
plus 529.
Yeah, 6.5, and the Vikings. Yeah, plus 529. We'll get that up to probably around plus 570 or something by the time they're done.
That's the way to go for sure.
So that's good. So we get the extra point of Houston. So Tennessee plus 6.5, Houston plus 4.5, Seattle minus 11.5. And we probably won't get to 6, but it will still be good. I think it's worth it for that half point in that Texans game. Like to take it from 3.5 to 4.5 with that, it makes a lot of sense with the boost. So yeah, we're living in the AFC South this weekend.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Tennessee
sir.
plus 6.5, Houston plus 4.5, and the Sammy Darce revenge game. Long day coming up for the Vikings. I think we're basically done. Minus 11.5. And just in case you're wondering, folks, going to get a piece of the Bears today at plus 7. It's a good weekend, I think, for underdogs, considering what we saw on Thanksgiving. We'll see whether that continues through. Any touchdown scorer thoughts today on this game?
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe we should just lock one of these in for the people. Listen, I like the value on DJ Moore at plus 366. I feel like he got a bigger role last week. I just want to see what his numbers kind of were, but I know he was close. I don't think he got in last week, but let me just see. 5 receptions for 64 yards. Oh, no, sorry. He had 2 touchdowns last week against Pitt. So you're getting a pretty good value number at 366. Or if you want to go any of those guys, Huss, if you think the Bears are going to be in this game, any of those guys from Monungai or even Odunze down to Loveland, I like. 236, 242, 366, 382. A lot of value with the Bears. I guess part of it is just like you don't know who's getting in. I'll stamp my guy on DJ Moore. I'll lock that in when we wrap up the show here. But I think if any of those guys in that 4-man range that you like, I think you really can't go wrong. A lot of good value there with the Bears.
DJ Moore, let's just look at his game log here. And and he had 2 touchdowns last week. Hadn't had any for the previous weeks before.
No, he only had one back against Dallas, September 21st. So kind of quiet. No receptions against the Giants on November 9th. 1 reception against Minnesota. Kind of came on last week. 5 receptions for 64 yards. Wonder what his target numbers were last week.
Let's roam.
If he's getting heavy targets.
It's kind of funny. They don't have any
7 targets. Receivers. Rome 9 targets. And Loveland has really come on for this team, Huss. Like, you want to look at his numbers. Cincinnati had 118, 2 touchdowns, 55 the week after against the Giants, 40 against Minnesota, then 49 a touchdown last week against Pitt. He's kind of taken over the Cole Kmet role, and he's been really, really solid as a rookie tight end there in Chicago.
on the Eagles side of things, how crazy is it that Barkley's now just minus 122? Like he's had such
I know
a quiet year this year.
And part of the problem is like they get down in the red zone and Hurts is a like a 1 yard merchant. Like he steals everything inside the 1-2 yard line with that tush push. So it's hard. Like it's I mean, if you're looking at value from the Eagles side,
I like
Goddard plus
Smith.
192. Smith, yeah, another good number plus 191. There's some good value on touchdown scores today, Huss. I might have to bet a couple of them. I'm gonna have to do the old. I hit one the other night, Huss. Like a fun little long shot 2 TD parlay. It was Tez Johnson. There's a Tampa LA game. Tez Johnson and Colby Parkinson. I hit for a decent number. It was like 4 digits odds. So I might hit something like that. Maybe like a Loveland.
How about
Loveland Goddard, a tight end one, or what do you got? Smith?
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking we do. By the way, the lamb and rice was amazing yesterday, and it cashed in like the first 6 minutes of the game. Why don't we do like one on each side? I mean, if we go DJ Moore plus 366, we throw Devonta Smith on the other side. It's plus 1256 before we even touch it.
I love it. Okay, I'll get that one up in the combos as well. It's a little Friday special. I should also mention. So first time we're ever doing this, and it's probably a good time to announce it. It's not up yet, but we're doing a Black Friday flash sale super boost. So I mean, I haven't figured out what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be like an either or touchdown score. So it'll be like either Barkley or Swift to score or something like that. It'll be boosted up to even money for 1 hour. From 1 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern. So, it'll go up to about an hour before game time. So it'll be in the exclusives. It'll be up for an hour. I think the bet max will be about $20. So a little higher than our usual Super Boost, which is usually about 10. We're going to have it up for an hour. If you miss out on it, you miss out on it. But get in on that between 1 and 2 Eastern. That'll be noon and 1 your time, Huss. So first time we're ever going to try it. We'd love to get people on it, and hopefully it cashes for you guys. We're calling it the Flash Sale Super Boost for Black Friday.
A little Black Friday special over at Coolbet. So yeah, we're gonna put in that Devonta Smith and Moore prop up, and of course everything else up there for the weekend. Good stuff. Pat's not here. We'll obviously have Pat coming back. We'll say cooking up some great stuff coming up for the month for everyone that joined us for that poker tourney, which was a blast on the weekend. We're some good stuff happening, and we'll hopefully be able to announce all that early next week with a little bit more poker coming up, an incredible prize for somebody that's playing in the tourneys. But Jake, let's get it. Any thoughts quickly for those of us that don't spend a lot of time watching college football? I guess there's a couple games already. Oh, the Egg Bowls
getting started. Egg Bowl's going right now. I got Mississippi State plus 7.5 in the Egg Bowl. That's getting underway here shortly. Georgia Tech today at 3:30. I like Texas at home against A&M. I think they could win that one outright. It's going to be tight. I know A&M needs it. They really haven't played a lot of people in the SEC. And then tomorrow, I like man. I like Michigan. I think they're desperate. Ohio State's in no matter what. And Michigan's got them 4 years in a row here. So Michigan at home, they're 9.5 right now. I got them at 10 a little earlier this week.
Michigan
so
money line
circled right now. I mean, I definitely, I'm going to sprinkle it tomorrow. I'm going to have more on the spread, but I'm definitely going to sprinkle the money line tomorrow. They've got them 4 times in a row. Ryan Day. Listen, and Ohio State's rolled all season long. They're the number 1 team in the country for a reason.
Anybody,
but they've got a Michigan problem. They absolutely have a Michigan problem, and until I see otherwise, I'm not buying Ohio State.
It would be so Michigan to just be mid all year long and then come up with their biggest game of the year in the game. That one's going at 11 our time tomorrow. Full slate up for the games, and then just those of you. We'll touch on this during WST, but a big slate of hockey games. Lightning and Red Wings kicking it off in just a couple of minutes. The Saft, we've got the Rangers, Bruins, Avalanche and Wild in Minnesota, Kings, Ducks, Devils, Sabres. Flames are in Florida, take on the Panthers, Islanders and Flyers, Canucks, Sharks. This is a huge slate of games. And then, of course, we're waiting for the Jets and Hurricanes. We'll have more on that one. Potentially Thomas Milich's first start coming up in a couple hours on WST today. All right. Shout out to Patty for bringing in the picks. Again, just to give you a quick recap of the spread picks. Patty's on the Rams -10, Niners -4.5, Seattle -12, Raiders +10. I'm taking the points. Houston +3.5, Tennessee +6.5, Cleveland +4.5, and I'm laying 5.5 with the Dolphins. Jake, we're both on Houston and Tennessee. He's riding with Patty against me on that Niner Cleveland game, and then the final pick, Buffalo -3 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, the lines are all up at Coolbet. Give us a little bit of time. The boosted parlays will be up in the combo cards and the exclusives, and we'll be back at it. We got a big Monday nighter, your Patriots going up against the Giants, so we'll touch on that on WST on Monday as well. But Jake, have a great weekend. Hopefully the shoveling's complete and the Wi-Fi will be back soon so you can watch the games this afternoon.
Yeah, I hope so too, Huss. I don't know if we're going to get a chance to talk about the Patriots-Giants game. Love the over, man. Love the over in Giants games right now. I know even if it's not Jameis, I think Dart's an electric factory. Drake May has been really solid. That Giants defense is suspect. And the Patriots defense, I'm not quite sold on the pass defense just yet. So love the over in that spot.
Good stuff. All right, gang. Huge thanks to Connor Rabchak for making it happen behind the scenes. Good luck with all your bets this weekend over at Coolbet. We'll see you coming up this afternoon for a big Friday edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk at 1 o'clock. Have a good one, everyone.